Here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about jobs, career, or calling. So, I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, you guys can show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. Or my details will be in the description. And So the reason why I want to talk about why jobs, career, and your calling is because it is more through the lens of how do you want to feel for the rest of your life, okay? And it's not something that we consciously really think of, not all the time, right? Now, if you want to be financially free, that's absolutely great. But you also have to take care of your mental health, right? Because we all know a lot of people that have a lot of money, but yet somehow, some way, they still find ways to not be fulfilled, right? And Tony Robbins said it best. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So how are we going to achieve this happiness? Happiness happens by choice. It doesn't happen by chance. And so today, that's what I'm going to be talking about today, following basically what you want to do. But I'll be breaking down some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. Anyways, I have a recap episode. So if you guys are interested in looking at that past episode, this past episode, that recap is most men lead lives of quiet desperation. And the slide is on don't take your mind for granted. And the reason why I'd say don't take your mind for granted is, if you think about it, the best things in life are given to you already. The moment you were born, right? Your mind, your heart, everything, it's given to you. It's just that we take it for granted because it was already given to us. But our mind is the most powerful thing. And the reason why I say that is because if I had not used my mind differently, if I stopped seeing things differently, I will always get what I've always got. The reason why is because my mindset has never changed. And it wasn't until it changed, things started changing for me. I used to be pretty upset. I used to look at life through the lens of why things happening to me and not for me. And I was always upset about things. I was kind of pessimistic. And it wasn't until I started seeing things differently, right? When you see with your eyes, you start seeing things. But when you start seeing with your mind, you see answers. So the answers I started getting was, how do I change my perspective in life? How do I change it into, it's like a little millimeter shift in your mindset. And that's the difference that makes the difference. Anyways, don't take your mind for granted. And I want to start out with a quote by Jordan Peterson, right? The purpose of thinking is to let your own thoughts die instead of you. And that's something that's very it's kind of morbid if you think about it, but it's also very true. You don't want to die inside, and that's why you want to think. And how I decipher that and how I break that quote down is, education is freedom. Your education is going to be your freedom, but it's only until you start educating it. And I could see why it's so difficult. What's up, man? You got pen and paper? You got that pen and paper? But your education is freedom. And the reason why it's so difficult is because first you got to learn it and then you got to apply it. That's a lot of freaking work. And most people, they much rather settle with something that's temporary, that's quick, that doesn't cost them anything really mentally. And they get the instant spike of joy. So that's why people look forward to drinking every Friday night, or just randomly doing things so that they could de-stress, so that they could go back to their everyday lives. Like, why can't you do that? Why can't you enjoy your Monday through Friday until, like, why is Monday so dreadful for so many people? So that was a quote by Jordan Peterson, okay? The purpose of thinking is to let your thoughts die instead of you. Now, thinking lets you create ideas, imaginations, beyond your wildest imagination and your dreams, right? So you must be able to find something and be around someone who encourages you to be you. Okay, I can't stress that enough. Be around people that encourage you to be you, but also here's the caveat to that. which is they still push you to become the best person that you could possibly be. Be around those fucking people. I can't stress that enough. Those people will make you become better. And like what Jim Rohn said best, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with. So if you don't surround yourself with good people, well, guess what? You're not going to be good company to other people, because it's indicative. Hi, Shevlin. It's indicative of who you are. No one wants to be around you. Why? Because you're so pessimistic. I don't know where everyone's at. Maybe they're busy. But I'm glad to have you, and I see Min here too as well. So, anyways, so find something and be around those people that encourage you to be you. Okay. Number 2, create the life and lifestyle that is for you. So what is it that you want to be? What is it that you want to become? What do you want to do? And the reason why most people stop doing things that they want to do is because it's a limiting beliefs. Now, if it's past your time, if you think it's too late to be a professional football player, hey, maybe you could still do something along the realms of it. Maybe you could be a good commentator. So why don't you practice being in front of a camera? Why don't you practice talking to your screen? Record yourself, and maybe you might become better. And then maybe start doing lives. Maybe start going out there, start talking to people, pick their brain, see how they react, become socially more intelligent. And I feel like that's gone nowadays, right? And especially, I would say, like, the pandemic didn't help. A lot of things didn't help. A lot of things, right? So, moving on. When you find out who you are, it is almost impossible for anyone to try to talk you out of it, okay? I'm way too deep. I'm knees deep into this water already. I'm out. Like, I'm already swimming in this now, right? I never thought that I would become the person that I am today. But a lot of it came with the message of, look, I had a lot of mess in my life. And, everybody has problems. It's just some might be more. We're not trying to compare, because comparison could be the death of joy, right? And my difficulties and your difficulties will be totally different. But we all have difficulties, and we all have to overcome it eventually. Otherwise, it will eat us alive. And that's why we think, so that we let our thoughts start dying, something that's consuming our mind, instead of us. So start educating yourself. And, for the 2 people that's here, love y'all. Thank you for being here. It's because you want to educate yourself. You want to become a better person. All right. But now, our common problem today is that our environment has changed, but our hardwiring in our minds has not. It's been 200-something thousand years old, right? Our minds is not meant to keep us happy or fulfilled. But yet, somehow, some way, we find ourselves wanting to be happy. Our mind is designed to protect us, to keep us safe, for us to be alive. And that's, if you're not here, then none of that really kind of matters, right? That's why your health is so important. You should always put your health first. Eat healthy. Drink some pressed juice. Okay? I got this from Costco. But anyways, take care of your body, take care of your health, mentally, spiritually, whatever, right? Take care of yourself. Make sure you take care of yourself. And then you're going to, I promise you, you're going to start attracting people into your life. Now, you're also going to attract people that you don't like. It just comes with the nature of it. It's just the nature of it. You're going to attract people you don't like. But then here's the thing. You're going to be at this level of understanding that, you know what? I've seen people like you, and I personally just don't fuck with you. At least not anymore. Maybe I have different standards when I was younger, but I started educating myself, and I'm more sensitive to people that are very negative. And that's why I have a very, very tight-knit circle of friends. And, JR is one of them. And I love the way JR thinks. And, sometimes things consume his mind. And that's why it is important to have friends that I could, confide onto him, if things are bothering me, if I can't figure it out, or I just need to let things go. What's up, Darlene? Hello. We got you twice. First TikTok, now here. um so anyways, yeah, JR being there, we pick each other's brain, but also we learn from each other. And I want him to have the most success. I really do. And he will want the same for me. And that's something that's very beautiful. And that's not something that I could say easily that not a lot of people will have. I'm so glad to be here. Great. Anyways, have great people around you, right? So because we live in this, majority of us live in a place that is safe, the safe into a comfort zone. We try to not escape from that because that's what we used to. And it's kind of like, I remember Justin sharing this. He's like, the devil you know is better than a devil you don't. It's kind of like, you ever had a job where you already disliked your manager and you don't really like them very much, but yet you much rather deal with this one than, like, this one's bad, but it's not horrible. I just don't know if the next person that comes in is gonna be even worse. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that when we think about relationships. I don't think I'm going to find another person that's going to be like this or whatever, right? And then so, and it's weird how our mind works, because the more you think about it, the more it expands. Just like what you're feeding onto fear. You ever like had this fear of approaching somebody to talk to them, or maybe go up on stage and saying a few words or whatever, public speaking, whatever it is. There's that fear, right? But you ever notice the moment you do it, it's usually not as bad as it was. Or maybe you fucked up, you fumbled a ball, you dropped everything, all right? But yet, at least it's over and it's done, and you had a valuable lesson and you had an experience that not a lot of people say that they could have. And I fucked up. I was in a singing class. I had to perform. I tried to hit one note that I never practiced, okay? Never practiced. Yeah, I tried. Screeched. Everyone looked at me. They're like, why would you do that? It was horrible, miserable. I learned a valuable lesson. Don't try new shit, especially when you have not practiced it, okay? I felt courageous. It didn't come out the way I want, but now I know, hey, if you want to do something, at least practice it before. And if it doesn't come out that way, then you try to fine tune it. But doing something new that you never practiced, I don't know. It's kind of risky, Mitchell. Are you willing to risk that? And I did it once, and I had a valuable lesson. So anyways, you know, people are safe. They want to be in a safe, comfortable place. Also, we opt to something that's usually kind of tedious, right? Kind of dull, but it's better than breaking that pattern, because you are so afraid of what is going to be out there in the world, and you're not unsure. You're unsure. So it's kind of like, why would I want to risk this chance? Why would I want to risk this? Everything's good the way it is. Is it really? It's kind of like being in a relationship that you hate, or the relationship that you have with yourself. I hate being here alone, and I don't like it. So why? So it's because it's those limiting beliefs. And like I said before, humans, we have these two primary fears of fear we're not going to be loved, because love is one of our basic human needs, love and connection, and fear that we're not going to be good enough, that we're inadequate. So but how do we break that? By learning and understanding what love is and how it works, and what are your character, what's your true character. And this is a good place to start if you're unsure of where to begin. And that's why I like doing lives, because I get to answer people's question as they come along. So then, because whatever's fresh in their mind, that's what they're consumed with, and that's what they want to know, right? Unless you're trolling them. I don't deal with trolls. But anyways, that's why I love doing lives, and love hearing from you guys too as well. Next, we got to push past the threshold of what's mundane in our life, something that's always repetitive, doesn't really change, right? So that we don't live lives in kind of discontent, being unhappy, right? And like I said before, the human brain isn't designed to make us happy or fulfilled. It is designed to make us survive. So that's why it's so difficult to break past that, right? So here I am. I'm trying to explain to you what is very important. Okay. Now, here's the difference. So the slide is called differences. Okay. And I want to talk about this quote by Tony Robbins. Okay. So jobs, career, or calling. And this quote is by Tony Robbins. Our lives are not shaped by our conditions, but rather by our decisions. Living an extraordinary life is a choice that is always available to you despite your circumstances. So what the hell does that mean? It means that you always have a choice on whether or not you want to view things that is happening to you or for you. And let me explain that. Things that happen to you, you're always thinking about me. Why am I not getting this? Why am I not getting that, right? If you're always too worried thinking about only yourself in this kind of negative thought process of me energy, and you're unwilling to give, you can't give what you don't have, and you're not gonna receive. That's why a lot of people, when they get this poor mindset, poor as in maybe negative thoughts, or maybe poor as in financial wise, they're always blaming other people for certain things. Poor mindset could also be blaming people on why they don't get good partners in life. I don't get good partners because everybody's shitty. Things happen to me. There's no good people. Dude, there's fucking good people. You just haven't found the right people because you keep attracting the same type of people. And so that's why it's so difficult for people to break out of that. And then we started conforming into ways, and we started believing into that there's this trend that there's no good people out there. That's absolutely fucking false. There's 7 billion fucking people. You're going to find someone that's great. It's just a limiting belief, right? It's just like, oh, I would never make money. It's like, no, you can make money. If you just need money to survive, find a job, right? Which is why I'm going to lead you to. See, you can have a job, you can have a career, or you can have a calling, okay? And the difference is when you have a job, the job basically, it just pays you whatever you need, right? Necessities, food on the table, rents, right? Bills that you got to pay. Maybe you have responsibilities. Maybe you have some babies. Maybe you have kids or whatever that you need to fund, right? A job is a place that will get you money, but is it going to fulfill you as a person? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know that, right? But it's usually something that you don't really look into for long term. And one of the worst things that you could actually do is stay at a job that eats you alive, that doesn't give you any type of fulfillment, yet you're spending 40, 50, maybe even 60 hours a day, and you dread it. And then you're thinking about it, damn, I gotta be here for the next 30, 40 years. What if I get a different job and nothing changes? Well, nothing will change unless you change, right? And number 2, what is a career? A career is something more considered a little bit more long term, right? Maybe it could be your entire life too as well. So a career is something long term, something you will build towards to work upon every single day. And it's more likely to be focused on the elements of success and prestige. So maybe it's like, I just want financial freedom, but I also want this fulfillment of people will see me differently. People will view me as, oh, this person has a little bit more money, right? And people will respect me a little bit more. So it comes with the prestige, right? The status, the pay. So, but usually what happens with a career is unless you keep growing, you're going to get bored. Like, everybody needs variety, and variety means, like, imagine doing the same thing every single day for 8 years and you're like totally unhappy over it every single time. But it's a career, you get paid well, but you're just like, damn, I'm not growing as a person. Like, I get good money, I get to travel, but it's like, it feels stagnant. My life feels like it doesn't move forward. It's just kind of like, what is it, on cruise control? It's kind of like, yeah, I don't really think. I show up Monday through Friday. You're like, it was great for the first few months when I got this promotion, but now I don't know what's next. And there's this cap. Now, I want to talk about what is a calling, right? So this leads me into a calling. A calling aligns with your values and your purpose in life. And you can make good money based off your calling, but you also need to understand, like, there's certain strategies that you have to, understand. You could be great at your craft. There's people that's great at what they do, but they're just poor in certain areas, and that's why they might not be making a lot of money. So anyways, aligning yourself with your calling is aligning yourself with your values and your purpose in life, right? And there's two questions that I really want to ask you guys. And for the people that's in here, I want you guys to focus on these two things if you ever decide on what is your calling. What outcome do you want? So if that's the one thing that you want to do, right? What's the outcome that you want? What do you want from it? So for me, the outcome that I want is I want better people, not just around me, but other people that feels like life isn't worth living anymore, or everything sucks. I don't want to be here anymore. And I'm there to ask, yo, hold on, before you make your decision, I want to ask why. I want to understand. And the reason why is because most people, they just don't feel heard and they don't feel understood. And that's the reason why. Especially in this age where like there's certain criterias of how to be a certain way. Yes, absolutely. There's roles depending on if you're masculine or more feminine. And I understand that. And there's certain things that we have to do, things that we don't like. But we have to also understand it's like, well, are you moving towards something that's beneficial for your future? Is it this, for like a little bit more of a business term, is it like a compound interest into your life? Is it going to add value down the line, or is it kind of just, it doesn't really move forward, right? So what outcome do you want is number one. And number two, why do you want it? The bigger the why, the easier the how. So why I want to do this is because, look, I've been through shit. Maybe not as bad as other people. I'm not comparing myself to other people, but I've been in a place where I felt like complete shit, and it was horrible. And as much as it was to be down at rock bottom, as dark as it was a very tough time to get out of it. And I personally thought that I was not able to get out of it. And then at one point I had this breaking point. I was desperate. I needed to get out of it. And I couldn't just rely on time to, even though I know time is I need time, I just couldn't rely on it. I had to understand why. So this kind of thirst for knowledge, if you will, or this curiosity to get out of a bad situation, right? That's like the bigger your why. And I would love to have great people around me, right? And the reason why is because, and I learned this recently too. I went to a funeral recently, and when I went there, we were the first people there because we're like close with them, the family. But then when it was time to start showing up, a lot of people started coming in, and this person and this was a valuable lesson for me. I started seeing a lot of people come in, and to a point where it was so packed that people had to stand outside. They had like certain rules, only at max capacity. So I understand that. And it was just like, and I was wondering why. And of course, everybody that went up to the podium that had something to say was always nice, it's the polite thing to do. Yeah. But then I heard the enthusiasm in their voice, and they shared a lot of great things about this person. And I remember this person that sat next to me, we were having dinner. It wasn't that long ago. And we had a great time. We talked, shared some things. It's going to be traveling and all this. And out of nowhere, it hits. And I'm like, wow, this person's gone. And I was like, we take life for granted so fucking much. Anyways, it wasn't until that moment when I realized, I was like, wow, like the people that he impacted, the legacy that he left. Just remember everything that you own, all right? Even the Panda Dunks that I have, that I cherish so much. Those are gone. Everything's gonna be gone. Everything you see here, nothing will stay with me, okay? But the only thing that you can pass on are the things that you cannot even hold onto or touch. It's your legacy, the people that you touched, the people that you helped in along the way of becoming the person you want to be. Because if you think about it, us as humans, we're here to give a service, whether it's a product or part of your services, right? So products might be, hey, you know what? This makes me happy. I like Pokemon. But hey, maybe um I need a service. Hey, maybe I need personal training. Whatever it is, right? I need a service. I need you to fix my roof. Whatever it is. It's one of those two things. What kind of value are you going to add into someone's life? Right? And it just made me realize like, wow, like if I'm gone one day, like I want to leave a positive impact. I want to be able to touch people into a way like this is what life is more fulfilling for me. So I was like, I want to be able to touch on some certain things on some people that it's like, wow, this person made me become a better person, and this is why I'm here today. And also, little preface, if I'm ever not here, okay, I want people to have a good time. Play Neo because of you, okay? Play Neo because of you. Blast that shit. Have a good time. I want you to be happy. I wouldn't want you to be sad. I want you to have a party in there. Even though all the energy is kind of like pulling you down, I want it to lift you up. Okay? Think about the happiest moments you ever got, all right? You even talk about the time I talked about everybody has an order on how to take a shower. Okay? Just make sure you wash your ass last. Okay? If that's what's make you happy, while Neo because of you is playing, it's all good. Anyways, you're calling, okay? Moving on. So that's two questions earlier. Why do you want it? And what outcome do you want? Or what outcome do you want and why do you want it? Now, moving on. It's authenticity and vulnerability. Okay? Being authentic and being and vulnerable. Because vulnerability, so here's the difference. A lot of people look at vulnerability as weakness, and it could be perceived if you allow people to come in and demolish who you are. Vulnerability is fucking amazing. That allows you to fucking grow. When you are able to look past your ego and not let it go, get in the way of whatever is holding you back. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's anger, or whatever, right? And you're authentic to that, and you're vulnerable, and you want to learn. Like, I give it to people that hold accountability for it. Like, I fucked up. I need help. I need it. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to begin. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I need this, and it's just when you're vulnerable and you're seeking that help, maybe not to that extent where like you're crying and like I need help and I really need to talk to you or whatever. Something's really bothering me, right? It's not something that like a lot of people want to share because they view you as weak. Like, why this person? But also you have to not only seek it, but you have to participate in the action. So that's why taking massive action is so important in this, right? You got to take the actions needed. So, and when you're authentic and you're vulnerable, that's how you're going to be able to connect to what is your calling. What do you want to do? Or what do you want to be? You want to serve something greater than yourself. Because like I said, the world is so much of what can I get out of this? Look at social media. How much, if I was worried about views, I would not be doing this. If I was worried about the way people look at me and how people would look at how I am as a person, oh, they're gonna make fun. Like, I wouldn't do this. Like, and no one could talk me out of what I'm doing now. Like, this is absolutely no way. Why? Because I truly fucking believe in what I do and what I say, and I stand by it. And when I say it, that means I'm going to do that. Okay? So that's how you're going to be able to connect to what is your calling. What is it that you want to do? Why do you want to do it? What outcome do you want? Right? Which will ultimately lead you to your own personal brand, right? And incorporating those purposes and being intentional in your work will involve self-discovery. That's how you're going to find yourself. But most people, like, if you think about this, right? More people would do more research on a car that they're going to buy than they would do living their or planning out their entire life or finding out what is really like holding them back, because it's too much emotions, right? And it's till this day, I feel like this day and age, a lot of people don't want to think about their emotions because it's considered weak. No, absolutely not. Like, that's why you start seeing people taking trying to unlive themselves, right? Which is not it's tragic. It's horrible. But it's because it's like this certain pride. It's like, dude, let that shit go. No one cares. And most people want to see you fall than they want you to succeed. So they're not the right people to be around anyways, right? So being true to yourself, be true to yourself and going for what you want. What is it that you want to do? Maybe you have a full-time job, and maybe you might even have two jobs, right? Maybe the other job is being a mother. Maybe the other job is, hey, I have certain things that I need to take care of even though I'm done with work. But whatever it is, spend more time. If you write down what you love doing and you get to do those, not knocking it out of the list, like, oh, I play video games, right? Like, that's something that I love doing, and I got, like, don't look at it as a list, but look at it as planning those things so that you can allow yourself, am I moving towards something that I want, and am I doing enough things that I love so that I could live each day more fulfilled every time? That's how you're going to find your calling a little bit easier, okay? Because I know it's not going to be easy to find something, but once you find it, you're not, it's all, and that's not something someone could just take away from you, because that's yours. You know what I mean? So be true to yourself, and also think about something you want to do that's greater than yourself, right? And I forgot who said that. I think this might be Aristotle. Okay, so don't quote me on that. But everything we do is an attempt to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. Okay, that's everything that we do, right? So if you think about it in a perspective of why do I go to the gym? I'm doing it to avoid pain. Reason why is because I know I eat food, okay? And I know I need to maintain what I have in order to live a happier, healthier lifestyle. Why? Because I cherish movement. And my goal is so that I will be healthy enough where when I grow older, when I'm 60, 70, 80, I don't need to take fucking medicine. Why? Because I don't need that as a crutch for me to live. Why? Because I see food as Press Juice. I should be sponsored. I see food as I wouldn't even say medicine, but it's more like something that nourishes me. That's how I see it. And every now and then I like to drink a beer. I like to go out with friends. I like to eat barbecues and ribs and steaks and chips and Cheetos. And I have Cheetos over here, right? It's still 3 bags. I haven't touched it. Is it 4 last time? I don't know. Yeah, but like, hey, I do more things good than I do that, that tears me down a little bit, right? Eating Cheetos is not going to benefit me moving forward, but it's what sustains me a little bit. It keeps me happy, right? So, anyways, moving on. What is a sign? What's the signs of your calling? Okay, the signs of your calling. We all know that we can all end suffering by not focusing too much about ourselves, but focus on something you want to serve greater than yourself. So, number 1, you don't need to have all the answers when you have your calling. You don't have to have, this is what I'm gonna plan out, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, we all know plans don't always go accordingly, right? Number 2, it's emotionally compelling. It's something that pulls you in. Maybe you're motivated to do it, but it's something that draws you in. That, like I said, it's something that's the first thing you think about when you wake up. Something that keeps you up late at night. What is it, right? What is that one thing that keeps pulling you forward? And it moves you towards it no matter how much you seem to try to step away from it too. Almost as if you're obsessed in a healthy way, right? Like, just healthy obsessions, okay? Everybody has their limits. So understand, like, hey, maybe spending, 4 hours, 5 hours at the gym every day might not be the best use of time, but being there is healthy. Drinking too much water, hey, you might drown. You don't want to drown yourself. You just want to stay hydrated, right? Anyways, here's the thing, my healthy obsession, this is how I consider it. I did kind of question it one time. I'm like, yo, Mitchell, am I just so fucking obsessed that all I want to do Like it will be like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I have friends in different parts of the world. They message me. They're like, "Hey Mitchell, I see that you still up." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "What you doing this late?" I'm like, "I'm reading." They're like, "What are you reading?" I was like, "I'm learning about certain things and I'm just fascinated about it. Like I fucking love it." And even better, I get to share it with people that wants to listen because they want to become better, right? So hey, I found a way to not only share it, but I get to learn it as well, and we can all become better from it. Like, and then you do that consistently long enough, you're going to learn things. Okay, so healthy obsessions, and what I've noticed is I've always liked to help people, whether it's in the health field, like personal training. I like to talk to people, even at a young age. I always like to listen to my friends' problems. Um, were the advice that I give good? No, no, I wouldn't say the best. All right. But that I try to listen. That was something that I need to work on. So I worked on listening to people. And not on top of that, I worked on educating myself. So when I do speak, that I give the right advice. Whereas it's not just based purely on emotions. Oh, oh, you like her? You should just tell her how you feel. Like that. Like this is young Mitchell. The Mitchell now is like, well, that person's not really sharing the same level of enthusiasm. So why are you? And you shared your interest. They're still unwilling to go out with you. Reserve your time somewhere else. Spend it somewhere else. That's where value is. If you keep going to them and you enable them, even when they don't want you, and you're like, it's okay, I still like you. Like, come on, how do you think that's going to? How are they going to value you as a person? And the value that you put on yourself, that's how other people will view you, right? So that's something that I always remembered, and that's one thing I always and also like I learned how to massage. So like I'm really good on a table. I'm decent. I wouldn't say great. I'm decent. All right. Be good with my hands. If someone came to me and be like, "Hey Mitchell, like I have this injury. I don't know what happened. I overworked it, or I can't turn my neck. Something happened. Can you help take a look at it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got you. I know how to do it." Why? Because I had a really great mentor. I had a really great teacher. He taught me a lot of things. So a lot of things that I do is of service of people, whether it's physical pain or mental, um, trying to get over an ex, right? Anyways, um, and I feel very very blessed. The reason why I feel blessed is because I have a lot of great people in my life. You know, I've also had a fair share of bad people that I wouldn't like to mention, but you know, we all have those good people and bad people. We have more bad people in our lives that we don't really associate with or don't want to. But then we cherish those great people in our lives too. And I also cherish those people that wasn't great for me because they taught me valuable lessons. So like everybody that comes into your life, they're like gifts. And so the one person I want to talk specifically about was I remember when I was a teenager, um, and it was $50 a month. And note that my mom, she was a single mom, one job, minimum wage, $50 a month for one person. I have two older brothers, so that's $150 including me. So there's three people, and it's to learn martial arts. I don't know why I wanted to learn it. I was inspired by TVs, kicking people, kicking things down, whatever. It was great. I was very super excited. And then one day, you know, we were going there consistently. It happened every Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. So now you guys know why I also like Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, right? I always go there Tuesdays at 7 o'clock every single day. Every single Tuesday, sorry. And when I went there, it was always about learning different things, learning how to kick, learning how to do martial arts, learning to defend yourself. Long story short, I stopped doing the whole jumping and kicking because I was a little kind of lazy. I didn't want to do it, so I ended up learning how to massage instead. So that's where my massaging skills came from. And anyways, then there was one point in my life where my mom said, "Hey Mitchell, like, mommy can't keep paying this much money." So then I was like, I know this is kind of fucked up, but I was like, well, my other brother, he keeps going, but he doesn't really do anything. Can we just have him stop going, and so that I could keep going for, if it's $50 a month, and he doesn't really do much, and he doesn't really, I don't want him to waste the time being there and your money. Can we use that $50 or whatever so that I could go, so I can learn? And then eventually it was just me there, and my other brothers didn't go. And so it was just $50 only for me. So I'm like, okay, we're saving a lot more, but still, like, single mother, not a lot of money, right? And I remember this as if this was yesterday. I went in, and I gave the $50 to him, and then it was towards the end of the month. On that last day, I was like, hey, I was really sad, and I was like, hey, Sifu, or master in Chinese. I was like, hey, Sifu, this would be my last day over here. I was like teary-eyed and everything. He's like, why? What's going on? And I was like, my mom don't have enough money to keep coming, and I really like doing like massaging, learning from you. He was like, and that one thing that he said to me was, Mitchell, just come. And I was like, did he not get the part where I said I don't have enough money? Because if he wants me to come, I'm gonna keep going. So anyways, that was when I had a moment where he keeps teaching me, and he taught me a lot of things. Things that I can't even explain, okay? Things that he could do with his hands that I can't, you know what I mean? And he fixed a lot of people in his life, healing people, like doing like neck problems, whatever. And I never really took that for granted, and I went every single day, every single Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. And so I kept going, and I kept going, and that's what made me understand, like, wow, like there's a lot of great people in life, but then it's how you spot them. And until this day, right? This is when I was 14. This is 20 years later. I still see him till this day. We're still like, we're really good friends. Like, we go out, we eat, we do certain things, projects together, right? Like, he's almost as if he's like my dad that never really had, right? And he taught me a lot of valuable lessons. And then he, then now to this day, I'm starting to be able to share certain things. And so it's like, that's one thing that emotionally compels me, that pulls me forward every single time. Like, when I see people, like, I notice it's like, I want to be willing to help, but also you have to understand your values too, right? Like, you're not just going to, because you are good at it, you're supposed to get paid for what you do. So it means that yes, there's going to be a time where you're going to have to start charging people for some of the services that you're going to be giving them, because nothing in life comes free. You know what I mean? But when they are giving it to you and they're adding value to that, it's like, learn to appreciate it. And so that's why I was like, look, we take our brain for granted. It's given to us. But anyways, I went on a tangent on that. So let me move on with the next part, which is letting that mess become your message, right? I said that before. When you start letting your mess become your message, when you start from a place of desperation and it pulls you forward, you're motivated, right? Your mess inspired you to want to do things. So then now you have this emotionally compelling reason to do things out of inspiration for other people, serving people greater than yourself, right? And we all hear like tragic stories, people that like lose certain limbs, breakups happen. But if you notice the intentions behind what happened to them and how bad it was, depending on which direction that they're going to, it usually comes from a place of passive, like, I'm trying to understand it and I'm trying to work with them, versus fuck them. This is where, like, if you hear guys that's been hurt that don't want to be hurt anymore, they're coming from a place of, this is why women are like this, this is why women are like that, and this is how you're gonna get the best thing for you. But that's not really trying to understand women. It's because probably chances are you've been hurt so bad that you don't want to be in that situation anymore. So what do? You become a great at picking up women. You don't really have to do anything, because all you have to do is, when something's wrong with that person, you just blame them for who they are, and you on to the next, you're on to the next. But then you find out that you live a life that doesn't really fulfill you, someone that's only there temporarily, that only stays with you a few months before you got to get someone new again. And then you don't really have somebody that wants to spend the time and build a life with you, right? That's one part. Or you could understand and be like, hey, you know what? I was hurt before. You could either be better or you could either be bitter, right? So which one are you? Where do you want to lead? I choose the path of more resistance because it takes more time to understand the other party too, and understand that, hey, yo, it wasn't just them that was at fault. Like, I had a huge part in it. And understanding that, that's a very humbling experience. And then you start becoming better. You start asking yourself certain questions. And especially if you're fascinated by it, you're going to get better, right? So um you know, and here's also another thing too. It's like, and I want to, for this quote, for the slide, is I want to end it with this slide, which is, you're not able to connect the dots going forward. It's only years later where you can see how everything is lined up. So what does that say? It means that when you have a calling and when you have something that you truly want to do, you're not going to be able to plan everything out the way you want it. It's not ever going to go the way you want. But it's not until years later when you start realizing, wow, like, I became the person that I am because of all those obstacles. And it wasn't a straight linear line, but it happened. And this is how it went. But hey, it went through. All right. The next slide is, I don't have a title for this. That was my fault. But I just want to talk about when you love what you do, right? If you love what you do, you're going to be exceptional at it. And there's a fire, there's a passion. You can feel that. You can't fake passion. You can see it. You can see the hard work that they put into it. Like, they really love what they do. They have passion behind it. And people will be drawn into your work. Do it so well where people can't take their eyes off of you, right? But here's the other side of the coin. Unless you do what you love, you won't truly have the internal enthusiasm behind it. So if you're at a job or a career that is eating you up alive, but you hate that job, maybe it's time to start questioning your motives behind that. Why are you there? Why are you there? Do you really like coding? Okay, you do. But what is it about? I don't know anything about coding, right? You love being a doctor, okay? What is it that makes you want to change your occupation from being a doctor to something else? Like, before you jump the gun, let's try to figure it out. Like, what is it? Oh, I love being a doctor, but I always find myself like answering emails more than like seeing patients, and blah 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 blah. And I want to be able to see patients, but I get all these emails that I need to answer. So it's like, but then if I get somebody that doesn't know how to answer emails correctly, that's going to fuck up how I am going to become a doctor. It's going to make so it's like, well, you have to learn how to delegate your time to somebody else. You got to get someone that's competent, right? So that they can answer emails, so that you could do your meaning, your purpose in life, to be that doctor that you want to become. So it's not that it's maybe that you don't, it's not that you don't want to become a doctor and you want to change your occupation. It's the fact that it's time management. You're not able to focus on being what you want to be because you're spending too much time answering emails, doing other things, rather than doing that thing that you want. So sometimes it might be that, or sometimes you just fucking absolutely hate being this. I don't enjoy being what I am right now. Even though you might be good at it, you just don't enjoy it, right? Lacking that internal enthusiasm. So, like I said, other side of the coin, unless you're doing what you love, you won't truly have the internal enthusiasm. And sometimes it's finding that line in between that, like, what's causing you to not enjoy it. Maybe you are in the right occupation, you're just not able to do the things that you want to do while in it. So something to think about, right? And also, you want to be able to show up on days even when you don't want to, right? There are days when I'm like, Mitchell, I don't want to read. I just want to sit back and relax a little bit. But then I notice when I put myself in front of the computer and I'm educating myself and I'm learning, or maybe I pick up a book and sit down and start reading, I just start diving in. I'm like, wow, holy shit. Like, I can't stop. I don't know. I feel like if I stop, I'm doing a disservice to myself, and then you just start picking up. Like, part of showing up is that's the major key. Showing up is major key because it takes action, right? And because there will be more days that you don't like than there will be days that you do like, right? But you're trying to shorten that gap. You're trying to close up the gap a little bit and enjoy the things that you do every day. Like I said, like if you're able to do the things that you love every single day and you do that consistently through time, you're going to be much more fulfilled as a person. You're going to be much more happier. And happiness doesn't happen by chance, man. It happens by choice. So, are you doing the things that you love doing? Or are you just doing things out of, oh, because I had to put food on the table. I need money for the kids and or whatever. And those needs to be important too. But you can't give what you don't have. And eventually everybody hits a breaking point. And once you hit that wall, it's going to be harder to bounce back out of that, right? So prevention is kind of key. So exercise, you want to write down what you love, right? Write down what you love, not what you like. And there's the exercise. It has to be something that you're enthusiastic about, something that you're truly passionate about, something that's emotionally compelling, that draws you in. Yes, you love doing, not what you like, but what you love. And on a scale of 1 to 10, you can't imagine anything more exciting or more compelling for you to do. Okay? And to give an example, my list is kind of like this, right? Here's an example. Like I love self-help. I love helping myself. I love helping other people. I love growing. So and I also love learning, right? I love living a healthier lifestyle. I love dancing. I love seeing people succeed, especially if they came from a place of, I don't believe in myself, but you know, some of the things you said, Mitchell, I don't know what it is. Something clicked, whatever it is. Or maybe you heard it somewhere else, whatever. Or maybe you watched it during this live, whatever it may be, right? That's one thing that pulls you in. But this is what pulls me in, right? Dancing, game. I love gaming. I don't play games all the time, but I'm not going to ever give that up. Like, am I gonna spend like a whole day just by gaming? Maybe if it was intentional, but I'm still going to do things like, hey, did I work out? Did I eat healthy? Like, you know, things that I must do. What are your daily rituals? What are your must do's? And here's also another thing. Things that are tedious that you do every single day, make sure you do it great. Like brushing your teeth, breathing better, sleeping. If you have a shitty ass bed and you're like, to me, there's what I value. Is my bed comfortable? Okay, because rest is really important. And if I'm there spending more than X amount of time, yes. So a chair, okay. If I'm going to be sitting a lot, is this chair comfortable? I'm gonna tell you this is not the most comfortable chair. I didn't know that, but I also have another chair too as well. But I'm only here sometimes an hour or two, right? And so it's like I'm looking into other things that I could invest in, things that I deem as tedious. You know, I'm sitting a lot, whatever, right? I got to make sure I take care of myself on that. Things that occupy part of my time. So that's why ergonomics, you know, is important to me. Why? Because I value health, right? Health is very important to me. And here's the thing, you owe it to yourself to show the world that what you can offer. Everybody has a talent. Everybody has something that they're good at. It's just that we have this limiting belief that we feel like we can't do it because why? Maybe it's the people around us. Maybe it's your surrounding. Maybe it's your environment. Maybe it's because you're like, well, I have to be perfect before I start. Like, you don't have to be perfect to start. You just have to start to be perfect or to be better or be greater, right? Whatever that quote is. But you owe it to yourself to share the things that you're good at, right? So focus on your strength and whatever, and maybe there's some holes, maybe there's some weaknesses in your strength. Hey, maybe you're great when it comes to live, but when it comes to public speaking in front of a crowd, you're just not that great. Why? Because you can see the audience's feedback and you're not used to that. Well, what does it mean? Confidence means taking action, right? Taking action breeds confidence and courage. Inaction breeds fear and doubt. So, but here, you might have little sticking points, but it doesn't mean you can't overcome it. Right? So what is it that you truly want to do that pulls you in for it? I want you guys to think about it, because then if you're able to do the things that you love, you're going to be much happier doing as a person. I had a person that's like, I love skating. I was like, why don't you skate? Oh, I don't have time. What's so it's not that you don't do it. It's you're saying there's time. Okay, what's holding you back with time? You can you um put away like half an hour to an hour so that you can skate? Will you be able to do that? Can you do that for me, for you? So you help you for me so that I'm helping you to get to where you want to be. And so that person started skating again. And I was like, great. How does it make you feel when you skate? Is it good? Do you feel happy while you skate? Yeah, I felt alive. Have you ever heard people say, I felt alive? That is something that you should really pay a lot of attention to. Same thing for talking to people. If you talk to somebody and they drain the shit out of you, that's probably not the best person to be around, right? Same thing for work, right? Same thing for the things that you do. And I understand that, hey, maybe you just need money. You just need a job. Like for me, I want to do this. So that means that if I have a job, and even though I'm not super excited about what I do as the job, but I get to come back and do the things that I love, to me, that's way more fulfilling than going to a career that pays me good money, that I'm like dying inside. And I come back and I repeat that every single day for the next 30, 40 years. Right? Like that's not something that I don't want to live like that, because if you think about it, we got the greatest gift. We all made it past the goalie, all right? We're here today. We're watching this live. I'm doing this live. And here it is. You're heading out. Sorry, I can't finish the show. I'll watch. All right, Shevelin. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. It's great to always have you though. You know it. So anyways, let's see. There's certain weak points. Okay. You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great. Yeah. And then here's my last one. So what makes you feel alive? What makes you feel alive? And here's another quote by Tony Robbins. You know, beliefs creates the map that guides us towards our goals and gives us power to take action. So it's your beliefs, right? It's what you believe in. And it starts with thought. Your thought creates emotions. Emotions create feelings. Feelings create behaviors. And your certain behaviors, depending on what you do, and certain beliefs that you have for yourself, if you don't think you're going to be able to do it and you never start, then where would you be? Right? So it's very important to have people that supports what you want to do and what you believe. Now, of course, if you true, like, if 1,000 people came up to me and be like, oh, you probably shouldn't be teaching people how to become better people, I'll be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm so convinced. And I love what I do. And I've had enough success to see that what I do does help people. And they want to listen, because part of the reason is because they want to help themselves. And so because I'm able to do, no one can take that away from me now, right? Maybe in the beginning, but hey, you know what? If I listen to them in the beginning, because a lot of people try to shut me down. They were like, Mitchell, you don't know a single thing about it. What makes you valid, right? Like, I was like, yo, you don't need to be a star player. And that's one thing I was very grateful for, to have good friends. You know, I remember my friend Justin. I was like, hey, you know, like, I know I'm just kind of starting this, but I was like, I'm not stupid or crazy for wanting to do something, but why is it that, like, I have friends, family, they're telling me, like, you know, what do you know about this? What do you know? And I was like, you know what? I might not have all the experience in the world, and I don't think people have all experiences, but I've known enough. And one thing he said was, yo, you don't need to be a star player to be a coach to see what's going on. And I was like, that's interesting. You can still see what's happening in the field just because you're not there doing it. It's just, how competent are you to do it? But then you're giving the right advice. I was like, oh, that's okay. So I latched onto that. And that was something that I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to fucking do it. I don't care. So I went and I continued doing it. And to this day, every single time I do it, I feel alive. So what keeps you alive? And those are the beliefs that I have. And I have good people that support me do that. Imagine if I had people that doubted me, that's always bringing me down. I I literally have family that tells me, why do I always eat healthy? You're gonna die anyways. I was like, I don't want to live like you because I see the way you live. And although you have all the money in the world to buy whatever you want, I want to be able to do the things that I want with the freedom of choice if I want to do it. Like if I want to walk 10 miles today, I could walk. I don't think you could say that about yourself, right? So, beliefs, it creates the map that guides us towards a goal, okay? And have you ever been so tired when, like you've been so tired, you're like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to go home. I just want to rest. But the moment you go back home, you realize that you're like, hey, you know what? There's something that I'm looking forward to, actually. Hey, maybe it's that new video game that came out, or maybe whatever it is. What keeps you alive? And then diving into that, like, I come back home and I'm just like, yo, I can't wait to read up on this or to educate and learn a little bit more about it. And maybe I might not remember everything, but hey, guess what? I know how to get back to it. I know what jump starts that engine. I know what could trigger that thought again. Like, and like things like, why do we overvalue chemistry and undervalue character? Like, that is still very new to me. But yet, it's like every single time when people come to me and they're like, hey, this person, they cheating and da-da-da, but I feel like I love this person, I can't live my life without them because they're so pretty. I'm like, hey, yo, guess what? Why do you overvalue chemistry and undervalue character? Why? And a lot of it is because they're insecure. They don't think they're gonna find anyone better, and what they have, they don't want to lose because, hey, maybe the sex is great, whatever it is. It's like, and then we start getting down to the nitty gritty. So, and then like we start dissecting it one at a time. And some people, they're a little bit more difficult to talk to, as in like, there's a lot of fluff to get in the way. And once we get past that fluff, it's like, oh, okay, so you're just insecure. Oh, okay, so you don't believe in yourself. You have a lot of limiting beliefs. Oh, okay, so it's part of your past trauma. Oh, so you had a dad that's been berating you. Oh, so your family start talking shit about you. It made you feel like you're incompetent in everything that you do. And so that's why you don't believe in yourself. And it starts going down the chain. So, like I said, following the trail of whys. And when we start dissecting that, I give them the roadmap. It's up to them if they want to take action on that. And that's all I can do, is lead them towards there. These are certain things that you need to do in order to get past that, right? You got to feel it to heal it, right? So if you're holding on to past traumas and you're not unable to let that go, that's going to be a lot of weight on you. That's going to be a lot of resistance holding you back from moving forward. So, hey, as part of moving forward is letting go. So that's just some examples, right? Now, moving on. I'm almost done. All right. So an extraordinary life is a life on your terms. Okay, that's part of your calling. Doing things that you truly want to do, right? And letting go of outside noises and listening to your internal compass. Super important. Resistance you might encounter are limiting beliefs, people that don't align with you or what you see, and they would want to start dragging you down. And sometimes what you love doing maybe have some underlying issues, right? It might not be that you want to switch career paths, like I said earlier, but it might be the issue is you might love what you do, but you don't love doing certain things. So why don't you lead towards the things that you want to do, right? And yes, it's going to, hey, if you want to become better at certain things, yes, if you want to be a construction worker, you just got to be good with a hammer, but you hate hammers. Okay, so maybe you probably, maybe that's not the best thing for you. You hate, I'm just using this as an example, right? Like you hate using hammers, you don't like tools, right? Like for me, I would never be a mechanic. I don't like being underneath a car. I just don't like that feeling. It's weird. I don't like it. I've seen too many things. You could call it fear. I don't enjoy being there. But if I have to do an oil change on my car, okay? If I have to change a tire, I will do it. Okay? I've been in places where my tires popped. And I'm like, shit. All right. I got to do this hand tight. I don't even have the right tools. But hey, you know what? If this could get me to point A to point B so that I could go to a shop the next day, I'm able to do certain things. Right? So, like I said, an extraordinary life is a life on your terms. But you're going to encounter things that you don't like to do. But if it's leading you towards something that is more, that it's going to give you good dividends, right? Compound interest, whatever you want to call it, that's going to benefit your life in the future, then it's great, right? Same thing like a relationship. It's like, if you're in this relationship and you're no longer in that relationship anymore with that person for whatever reasons, but yet they still want to see you, they still want to do X, Y, and Z with you, sex, whatever, and that person treats you like as if you guys never broke up, but they were clearly letting you know that, hey, don't look into this. I don't want to get back into a relationship. I just want to do certain things like sex and sleeping with you. And you have to think about it. Is that what you want? Do you want that? Or do you want something more? And if that's not what you want, then do you think, and because how I see things is, if you're going to be doing something, at least it has to add value to you moving on in the future. And it's not going to be something that's stagnant. So if having sex with that person that you truly want, but they're unwilling to give that to you, then maybe that breakup is a good choice. And that's why understanding the values, like when you're vibrating at a higher level, higher vibration, you start seeing facts, reality as it is, instead of looking at things as why it's happening to me, right? So anyways, yeah, I think that I covered most of it, right? Oh, last thing is it's easy to put things off, wait for the perfect moment, and end up waiting for the rest of your life. Okay, it's easy to do that, and I know a lot of people that's already done it, and there's certain people that are comfortable, and that's, if they choose to aim down, let them be. But you're here today because you want your life to be extraordinary, and if you want to live an extraordinary life, and to live an extraordinary life, you have to live a life on your terms, then you have to be willing to do certain things, even if it's part of the things that you don't truly enjoy, but finding a way to enjoy that process. Find that one thing that pulls you in, emotionally compelling reason for you to do that, then you're going to have a much better time. You're going to be extraordinary. Like you're gonna be exceptional at the things that you do because that's what you like. And so, yeah, that it just adds value to you as a person, right? And it keeps you alive. So if you think about it, if you want a job to make money and you're comfortable, by all means, you could do a job. If you want financial freedom and you want to work up for prestige and and stuff like that, a career is not a bad thing. I don't think there's nothing wrong with careers. There's nothing wrong with jobs. But if you want to live an extraordinary life, doing the things that you love, and know that this is like, it's not set in stone, but doing what you love, like your calling, you might not have all the answers right away, and it's going to take time. And the best thing that I've ever heard from my coach was, he was like, what will you tell your 22-year-old self? And he's like 50 something now. He was like, I would think in terms of decades. The problem with today is everybody wants something instantly. They want it to be done like in a year, 2 years. Like, all the greats took decades to get where they are at today. So unless you're able to work for it and put in the time and effort and not take shortcuts, then you might, and you're consistent with it, you're going to get where you want to be. And you're going to get better at it every single time. You're going to find ways, right? The easier, the bigger your why, the easier the how. So, yeah. That's all that I have for today. I know Mitchell, you went on a tangent like 15 times probably. I don't know who's keeping tabs, but if you are, don't let me know. Don't let me know, because Mitchell have his moments, right? I know I went all over the place today, but I was just sharing some of the things that really that draw me in and pull me forward. Of what keeps me up late at night, and it's still to this day. It's still true to this day, right? Like, and I would like to share some stories later on down the line. Maybe not now, It's a little bit sensitive, but I will share some stories later on down the line in the future for you guys so that you will hear a little bit more about some of my experiences that because I share certain things. I don't share everything, but I share what I can, right? And but yeah, until next time, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and thank you for staying on this live. I really appreciate your time. You're helping me a lot too as well by just being here, and I hope it helps you too as well. Sidebars. Thank you, Min. uh and thank you, Darlene. Yeah, have a great day, have a great weekend. Yeah, I don't know, do I want to go? I might go on TikTok. I'll do it for a little bit. We'll see. I still got to drink my juice. Okay, I still got this juice that I never drink, so I'm gonna hop on over there, see what's up. All right, peace.